Have you ever wondered what it was like to grow naturally grown food here in Tennessee? Hi, my name is Richard Grimberg, and we're here at the Herb and Plow in Grimsley, Tennessee. And to my right is Ron. And Ron, we appreciate you allowing us to come out here and take a look around at what you've got.
The front field here, I have 4 different fields I work, but this is the front field. We had sweet corn in it. It was actually the second crop of sweet corn for the season. Of course, it's gone now, and it's mowed down and it's resting. I'm getting it ready to, once we get some rain, I want to plow it and work it and get it ready for cover cropping. The rest of this open ground, it was in watermelon and cantaloupe, and that was like a 3rd planting of watermelon and cantaloupe, and we're harvesting the last watermelons here, that little section there in the front field.
I see we have some greenhouses behind us. How many greenhouses do you have?
Well, I have 4. I have 2 96 footers. One's a 96 by 30. It's a heated greenhouse system. The others are high tunnels. Then I have an 80 footer and a 50 footer, and usually I keep them pretty well in production.
What is the difference? What's the difference between just planting them outside or whether they're in the greenhouse or not?
Well, years ago, before I went to high tunnel production or a heated greenhouse production, for the heated one, that's the 96 by 30, I'm able to get in early in the season. Like I'll plant tomatoes the 1st of March, and you know what it's like in March here.
Pretty cold.
So I have plants already 16 to 20 inches tall coming out of the greenhouse into that production house. By the time the 1st of May comes, I already have full production tomatoes in harvest. That is unheard of up here on the plateau, and especially in this area here that we're in. So that house is an early production for like tomatoes, bell peppers, and cucumbers. And they get in early May. The other high tunnels are not heated, just by solar heat. I also put tomatoes and cukes in there. Now, I have quit putting tomatoes on the outside. As anyone knows that has grown food around here, they know that the problem we have with tomatoes on the outside is they blight out pretty quick unless you spray them really heavy with some kind of chemical, which we don't use chemicals. We're all certified naturally grown. So I took the tomato production and the cucumber production and I put them in the high tunnel production, which I can control the environment in the high tunnel.
Okay. Is this a standard soil that's normally found in the state?
Well, I mean, various parts of the states, we have all kinds of different soils in the state of Tennessee. Up here on the plateau, at least here in our area, we see a lot of sandy type of soil, a sandy loam type of soil, and that's really what you like, and that's what I was looking for when we bought this place. And there are pockets of clay. I like soil that has clay in it because there's a lot of good stuff in clay. But the problem with clay is it wants to bind up on you really bad, and it's very hard to work. So I have added every year about 9 semi-truck loads, that's 22 tons, or excuse me, 22 yards of compost every year to the soil, to where now I'm putting about 5 loads a year. And so, you know, the soil used to be to where you would take a hand load of that and you would crush it together and it would stick like a ball. Now it just falls apart. That's what you want, and that's what a lot of compost and a lot of cover cropping has done for the soil, to open it up and get it to where it's real nice and loamy and real nice and loose. It, you know, it still has a tendency of packing in certain parts, but it's getting a whole lot better than what it was. Now, another thing, when it comes to soil, you can kind of see the layout of how there's sections like what we call beds. They're like a 32-inch bed. and then there's a walkway, and it goes that way all the way through. I do not randomly throw compost around, like broadcasting it everywhere. It only goes in the bed. The minerals like the kelp and the Tennessee rock phosphate, the calciums and all those things, it goes in the bed only where you're going to be feeding the plants, not out here in the walkway. I don't want to have to feed the weeds.
Right.
It's too expensive. So only you have only the bed being fed. Now, that gets, as you can see, the little black line here.
Yes.
We've got a 3/4 inch main trunk, what's called blue line, as you can see the line up here.
Right.
And the drip tape has a blue line as well. That tells you that it's the upside.
Okay.
Okay, now in some areas, a lot of people like to use overhead sprinkling. I don't, because I don't like to have broadcasting water like this, and you waste a lot of water. And on top of that, you're feeding thousands of weeds in your walkway, which is unnecessary. So we're fortunate that we get a lot of rain, and in that rain that we get here, it's a nice thing because it really does feed the plants better. But if you don't get rain, I use the drip tape. And the drip tape goes right next to the plants, and especially when you're new, these are new plants, you do not want these plants' roots to dry out. And so that helps feed them a lot better. And it saves a lot of moisture and a lot of, water.
Okay.
And but that's what we do, is we irrigate pretty much everything with drip tape.
Well, it sounds interesting. I mean, it's just common sense that you would try and preserve and just use the water for the plants itself.
Yeah.
What is this contraption here?
Well, that contraption, a few years ago, as you've seen the plants as they set in the bed, they're set in the bed in increments every foot, and 20 inches apart, you'll see a plant, plunk, 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 all the way down the bed. Now, years ago, because everything we do is pretty much hand done,
yes.
I used to take a stick and walk down and poke and hope I got everything in increments to where it looked halfway decent. Well, that was kind of a trick. And then I built some jigs that have dowels on it, and I used them. I still got them up there in the shed. I don't use them anymore. And I'd come here and I'd poke it down, walk forward, poke it down, walk forward, poke it down, walk forward. And that's what I do to poke the holes all the way down the bed. You talking about a backache. I decided a few winters ago, I said, there's got to be something to do to get that work a lot less actually. And this is what I came up with. I built this thing, and you can see it's 21-inch bicycle rim.
Mm-hmm.
And it just works great on a 21-inch rim, because every 6 inches you can put a PVC pipe, and this is a 1/2 inch PVC, no, 3/4 inch, and every 6 inches it's laid out all the way around the deal. And so if I have like these, you can see this dowel here. That dowel is basically a foot apart here to here, little more, but, and the same thing over here. And so when I want to set out, depending on what I'm going to plant,
right,
is where I set my dowel. Now with these, it's on this increment here, and so what you do is you walk in your walk path. That's why you have this handle over here. And as you walk, it's poking a hole for you everywhere you walk. And as you walk down your bed, you can see that it's poking a hole every foot here, 20 inches apart, right there and right there, right there and right there. And you can just walk on and do that whole bed within a matter of a few moments.
And that's where you're going to plant your seeds.
And then we come back and we have our plants in a 50 tray, and you just pluck your plant out and drop it in that hole. And so you know right where to drop your plant, and then you come back and just set them in the, set them in the hole and bury them.
Wow, well, that's really interesting.
It
That just saves you a lot of time and energy.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, like I mentioned to you earlier, You can buy a commercial one of these for organic farmers from various different companies, but you're looking at $500 to $800 for the same thing when you can build this for about $50 to $75 at the best.
Yeah.
And I figured I'm kind of a tightwad anyway, so I decided I'm not going to spend that kind of money.
No.
I'm going to figure out something to make it work, and it has done great for me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Hey, we hope that you will tune in again for our next video when we talk about how certified natural foods are healthier for you.